The next topic, yeah. So next topic, I'm super excited to talk to you about. Wonder
Mm-hmm.
Woman 84.
The feeling is not mutual.
Before we get started, guys, me and Ricky love DC. Ricky's a way bigger DC fan than I am, but
I don't know. He has the tattoo, y'all.
I want to respect. I want to respect your guys'. Everybody's gonna have different opinions about this, okay?
You know what that means, y'all. He about to shit on it.
No, everybody's gonna have different opinions, guys. And I want to be respectful.
He
Like
dropping
if you liked it, if you didn't like it, cool. And I just want to hear why.
Yeah, right.
Now, I told you this yesterday, and
gonna
I don't
shit
think
on
you
Will
believe me.
Smith.
I don't think you believe me.
Nope, not at all.
Wonder Woman 1 is probably my favorite DCEU movie that they put out.
Over Man of Steel.
Okay, over Man of Steel, no. So it's probably top 3 then.
Okay, I'll
It's
take
top
that.
3.
I'll take that. Fair.
Wonder Woman 1's amazing.
Fair.
It's an awesome movie.
Yes.
It actually proved to all these people we don't hate women like you guys say we do.
Facts.
We
That idea of you
don't-
guys don't need a main female lead. Yeah.
You know, people say, oh, sexist this, sexist that. You guys just don't like women. That's not true. We like it when it's well written, like every other movie we like.
Yeah, because
Okay.
women, I don't see y'all coming to really talk about how many times we shit on each other's movies, okay? There's plenty of guy movies I can name. I mean, we talk about them. I used to work with you in electronics. There are so many movies that we talk about that are horrible by men. Great actors.
Great actors, just horrible movies.
Right.
So
So
it's not about women, bro. It's not about, when people say like, it's always the argument, women and people of color. Oh, you don't like Finn because he's black. No, I don't like Finn because the writers don't know how to write a good character.
I'm gonna be real. A lot of black people wondering why Finn was even there as a character.
Well, I know because they didn't understand that
Right.
that the clones died off at a
Right.
certain point. They had to
And-
recruit
right.
people. Yeah.
I mean, Mace Windu goes hard. Continue, just as PS.
So I watched it twice. This Wonder Woman 84. Okay. First time I watched it, I was like, "What?
Right.
What?"
Right.
I watched it again last night because I knew we were going to be doing this review,
Right.
and I was like, "Hey, maybe I'll watch it a second time, and my opinion will change." I have watched it twice now, and I like it more the second time.
Okay. Can I also ask you something while you're continuing? What were you thinking? So you remember the second one pretty well, right?
Yeah.
So going into this first one, were there any thoughts?
You mean?
The second one. Were there any thoughts? But the first time.
Well, I was excited because I knew they were going to be doing the 80s.
Okay.
So I was looking forward to a bunch of good 80s music, classic 80s ballads, maybe,
Really?
kind of like some Stranger Things. Like
Oh,
Stranger
okay,
Things does a
okay.
good
Okay.
when they portray that time era.
Right.
They always portray like 80s, 70s things, you know.
It's a show, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that fact too, but I knew like for the movie they could do some stuff.
yeah,
you know?
which they did.
And they
Fanny
definitely
packs.
did the look for sure.
Fanny packs.
The fanny packs, the coloring of the movie was definitely
Right.
80s. So
Totally.
when I watched it the first time, I didn't really like the quote unquote villain Maxwell Lord.
Right. I had mixed feelings at the beginning. Right.
The wishing stone, I thought the first time around I thought it was stupid, and I thought
Okay.
it created a lot of plot holes.
Okay.
One of the plot holes we'll get into later revolved kind of around the cheetah
Okay.
and Wonder Woman's love interest.
Right.
The wishing stone just created. So besides that, the CGI again, I don't even feel like I want to bring it up because I always shit on DC CGI,
Yeah.
and I feel like I'm just a broken record at this point. I get it; they don't make good CGI.
They don't.
Okay,
not
cool,
all the
let's
time.
move
And I
on.
mean, every CGI was good except for that one scene we both know. So, because there's not a complaint I think you had besides that one scene where they try to do that trick. So,
Yeah, and we'll
not
talk
to
about
spoil
that.
it. Yeah.
And we'll talk about that. And by the way, guys, spoilers for if you
Right. Because we're about to get into
we're
it.
about to get heavy. But I want to hear from you first. What you liked about it, what you didn't. I want to hear from you.
Deep. So in which way? Because I can say from like a comic book standpoint. So, like, in which way? Like just the first time?
Okay, so overall,
Overall, how'd I feel?
like, because obviously, like, not many people, like, you're super big into comic books.
I'm not.
Well, I thought the way you talk to me, and
I
the way you
just-
describe yourself, yeah, I thought you would be, but
I like having a background to whatever I'm getting into. So even like Star Wars, if you notice, like our first couple of shows together, I would ask you a shitload of questions. I just wanted to know, you know,
and I love that about you.
right. I don't want to go into something and be like, oh, this is stupid, and be like, I didn't get it, and then it makes sense later, and now I feel like an asshole. you know, or I didn't notice it, and now that's actually really cool. Because, like, remember, for example, remember I told you, one big thing I didn't know about Star Wars was that, like, they're actually, like, fighting styles and more so a mentality that goes along with Star Wars, you know?
I remember that.
Right. So I just thought it was just like, okay, it's lightsabers, whatever. So for this movie, I just kind of, I don't know. To tell you the truth, I just expected a little bit of background lore between Justice League and all that. So, and on top of that, like, I always like to think, like, what is our, I mean, you talk about this heavy, Spider-Man, right? When you think about how Spider-Man's supposed to be and what they show us, it's a little different.
Yeah, the comic book version versus what we've got on screen
Right.
before.
She
Yeah.
needs one. He needs Mary Jane. He needs his parents. So we see how Peter Parker's supposed to be. We see how Spider-Man's supposed to be. For Wonder Woman, unlike the rest of them, it's like, dude, she's always Wonder Woman. There is no I'm Bruce Wayne. There is no I'm Clark Kent. She doesn't have a secret identity.
She's always Princess Diana.
Right. And on top of that, she's also kind of I would say her personality's never changed compared to the other two. Like, remember I told you actually one day she didn't really have any problems. So when I went in here, the only thing I was wondering was Steve Trevor gonna fit? Because he was probably gonna be used her as some feeling to make her feel better and basically give her some humanity. And so when I came in watching it, I really only cared about the relationship she was gonna do and the progression, like character development. Action wise, I was disappointed. Say that flat, just go back and forth. Action wise, I was disappointed. I really liked the girl Barbara or
Minerva.
But I really liked the actress who played her.
Such a comic book name too, by the way.
Right, Barbara.
I love
Minerva.
it. I love shit like that.
Right, I fuck with it. Maxwell Lord, I hated at the beginning. Like you, I hated him. And then when I kind of watched the story a little more and I let it go, I was like, you know what, this is 80s and just to keep it like flat out, I saw what they were trying to do. And for me, I felt like it's like a 7 or 8 out of 10. It's not a horrible movie. It's like, I would argue with anybody who said this is like Suicide Squad bad.
I say 7's a good, fair rating. That's fair,
Right,
dude.
because it wasn't action-packed, but it didn't feel like it was trying to be.
No, it wasn't trying to be at all, actually.
Right,
They
'cause-
tried to fit more character development in this one.
And nobody was inherently evil. You know what I mean?
Everybody had a good Yeah, when we were watching it last night, Emily, you know, Maxwell Lord's character, Emily's like, oh, this is a bad guy? He just wants to make his son proud of him.
Yeah, he really felt like as soon as he got called a loser and his son spent his wish on him, I felt for him at that scene. That scene really did it for him. He was like, no. And he tried to hug him. I was like, damn, bro, like you're the problem in this whole show, but you really, you wanted your son to wish for something that made his life better, not yours, because you didn't need it like that.
Yeah.
So he was a bad dad. That was about the gist of it.
Yeah, he was a horrible dad, but like his intentions were there.
Yeah. And so I think it was like, for me, this really wasn't like a superhero movie. It was almost like it's like a feel-good movie, you know? Almost kind of, because one other movie did it, and one of the reviewers we were talking about actually said that too. So
Jeremy Johns or Chris Duckman?
Mostly I would say both of them, the vibe that they were going with, and shout out to both of them. Like, watch you guys' stuff all the time.
Yeah, I love you
Great
guys.
shit.
Yeah, you guys, awesome channels, by the way.
Great channels if you guys ever check them. But I was looking, and one big thing they said about the show that they just weren't feeling where they understood was kind of just the fact that she was it was conveying the message, you know. And I got that, and you know, like she was losing her powers because she was trying to have too much, kind of like Spider-Man 2, or kind of, in my opinion, right, like Iron Man 2.
And I wanted to ask you about that now that you're here. So, I'm calling her Cheetah, but her name's Barbara. Did Barbara go through that in the movie? Did she lose her powers? Like, was Wonder Woman the only one that has like lost her powers at some point?
Yeah, Wonder Woman lost her powers, I'm pretty sure, because the whole time they kept saying, you see how she kept talking truth? Truth, 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 truth. The lasso of truth.
Yeah, the lasso of truth, which
Right.
is
So
it's a fire name for that.
everything didn't make sense. So if nothing makes sense, how can you say something's true? So I think that's what fucked up her powers. That wasn't explicitly explained, but if you look at how much that word was thrown around, and you and her parents saying, "No,
her
you
speeches
cheated."
of it.
Yeah, you cheated. No. And in truthful, that's kind of why she wanted that. Because I always thought that was weird at the beginning. I was like, really? Like, really, Wonder Woman? You're just gonna try to be friends with this girl to grab the little the rock, basically, and wish. And she gave like a half-ass wish, like whatever. But it still showed that, like, because remember me and you said it. Anybody who thinks this movie sucks, I would ask you, and I would ask anybody, think of any superhero you like and really ask me, or really ask yourself, what does Wonder Woman's inward problem? What's her emotional or mental issue?
Her N word,
Like
her
what?
inner problem.
Yes.
Yeah,
What does
we
she?
talked-
What
yeah.
demons does she battle with? We know Batman has trust issue. We know Superman's kind of naive and not the smartest. We know Captain America's was being naive. You know. We know Iron Man's hard headed. We know Hulk doesn't trust. You know what I'm saying? Spider-Man might be going too easy on you, but her problem is like nothing.
And her problem should have been that she lives longer than everybody else.
Which is a way you could have went, right?
You could have went like her problem is like, hey, every time I get attached to somebody or I try to create a family, they're gonna die before I die.
And I feel like that's kind
That's
of
a
where they're.
that's a problem.
It sucks, but I
Yeah.
feel like that's kind of where they were going with, and it wasn't the best executed. But I just, like I said, I feel like that's kind of where they were going with the whole scene of, because the only one it wasn't bad, but it's used the whole moment when he said it, like, girl, I had a good life. Like, he's 100 years out of his timeline, and one of those dudes, same thing we just said, those reviewers said it, like, you just pluck somebody's life. I'm a part of somebody's life now. Like, I just use somebody's body. I'm inhabiting his body
Which
right now.
I didn't get that either. Why can't they just give us Steve?
Yeah, he just could have came
Why
back
couldn't it
weird.
just be Steve? Why was it some?
But
Okay, was
that
she
doesn't
seeing
ruin
that
it,
guy's
though.
body, or what? What I'm trying to understand is, we saw Steve Trevor,
Right.
but was she seeing Steve Trevor,
No,
or she
no.
was seeing the other guy?
No,
But why
it
were
was,
we seeing Steve Trevor?
It was that scene. It's because unlike DC, they still have like it's stuff spacious.
Uh-huh.
But he repeated that when he grabbed her arm. See, I'm not gonna lie to you, I confused me too. I thought she hasn't seen Steve Trevor in so long that he had to say something like to make
Similar.
her remember. Yes. But when he looked in the mirror, it shows that no, she only sees him as Steve now that he said that. But he's in somebody else's body. That's why he said, "Hey, give this dude in this dude's body I took a chance. You got to do something else." And personally, like I said, the only thing comic book you can really get from watching Wonder Woman is, bro, she doesn't need anybody. She's a warrior, or she's a very compassionate person. That was it. So I liked it, her dynamic between her and Barbara. But I feel like the only things that people I feel like are like legit bad in that movie, or you may not like the message, one, because, and remember we talked about this, I'm kind of tired of every single time the world's about to get destroyed. This was a different feel with the world naturally being bad from everything everybody wished. It felt different. You know what I'm saying? It didn't feel like it was one solid thing. It felt like you kind of have to battle with how people are.
like
which-
everybody pushes the nuke button,
right.
and it's like, oh, okay,
Right.
Like,
Cheesy, but at the same time, I was like 80. So,
it did give me a lot of Austin Powers vibes
yes.
for some reason. I'm sorry, I
Yes.
just
But and that was the 80s, bro. And that's why I was like, I had to separate it. So for me, the first time, until I got to the end of the movie, that's when, for me personally, 8 out of 10. I hate the fight scene at the end. I do. And I do not like how much time they gave Maxwell Lord compared to Barbara. I feel like Barbara should have stayed Cheetah.
I don't. You know,
So if you want to argue a 7, I'll take that too.
you brought up a good point. Like, she wasn't really a villain, right?
Neither
What
one.
more screen time in this movie for sure shouldn't have been 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
2 hours at the most. Cut 40 minutes out. It's less boring. There's less filler.
They should have kept her as Barbara and gave her another fight scene.
They
She shouldn't have.
one more fight scene. Yeah.
She shouldn't have taken back her wish.
I don't think that's why they gave her a lot of screen time, bro. Because think about it. She already isn't really a villain, and her reasonings for being Cheetah,
They were trash.
I can't argue with that.
Right.
She just wants to be someone important. She
and
wants to be
better.
someone that's a bumbling, stumbling Edward Nygma character.
Right. And I think that's why I liked her as a character, and I feel like her reason wasn't that bad. Like, Wonder Woman was losing because of Trevor. She got her powers back when she put her wish back. After that, Maxwell Lord did 90% of everybody else. But I feel like it would have been fine if she would have just been like, no. She had no attachment, so just her being like, I feel bad, that was my minus. I'm like, no. This character is good enough because Wonder Woman, she never felt like she hated her anyway. Like that whole scene, why were you hanging from, you know what I'm saying? It didn't feel like she was trying to kill her. If you look at one, and I guess because I probably sound like a broken record. If you look at Wonder Woman 1, last fight scene, right? And you look at that fight scene, Wonder Woman was not serious. And I told you before, that first movie, she was knocking dudes' heads off. Humans. When Trevor died, she was socking people. They didn't show it, but she slow-moed and right hooked everybody and their heads flew off.
She was going head to head with Ares, bro.
Bro. So on this one, it just felt like they could have kept her for a next movie because Cheetah's not bad. You don't have to kill her. She's not like Joker.
They think that they
know?
are bringing her back for the third movie. There's rumors that
Yeah. Let her come
Let her come
back
back.
because
That'd be
she was a good villain, not the best executed wise, but
she
the actor
bodied. There was a point in the movie where she bodied it. She said Wonder Woman's trying to talk her out of being Cheetah. Remember?
Yeah.
Or look, she's like, yeah, but what does that do for you? And Wonder Woman couldn't answer her.
Yeah, she's like, look at you. What is it taking away from you?
What does this take away from you with me having this? And Wonder Woman couldn't answer her.
Yeah, like, bro, leave me alone.
Leave me alone, bro. Yeah, and I was like, ooh.
And that's why at the end of the day, she had to be like, all right, Trevor, I'm gonna get rid of you. Because it's like, yeah, girl, you're not meant to have this dude. You just want him.
And when she waltzed out, let's talk about it, bro. When she waltzes out looking like straight from the Cats movie,
Yeah.
and they even know, and Chris Stuckman even pointed this out, how they shot it in low light to cover up the bad CGI of that part.
Yeah. That was lazy. It was lazy. And I would have accepted it if the fight was good. If the fight was good, I would have accepted it. Because remember, we've talked before. I don't always need the best graphics as long as what you're showing me, it looks like it took some time.
Yeah.
That did not look like it took any time. That
And-
was a 30-second fight, bro.
And she was being, okay, now maybe you or Justin, anybody can chime in and answer this one. How did she get her suit? Because I know in the beginning she has to win the Olympic game type thing to get the suit, whatever. Like, does she go and do a quick Olympic game and get the suit, or does she already have it? Or they didn't really explain that part.
It was, and that's why I said if you want to say it's a 7, because the story was kind of all over the place. It felt a little bit like, unless you kind of know Wonder Woman, you're not gonna know like why she
It
would do
felt
some
like
of
there
this
was
shit.
multiple writers, which there is.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, and we said it, Gal Gadot being one. I'm not mad at what she might have put in, just like we said, Ezra Miller or I forgot his name, another actor, but they're not writers. I expect the writers to know better. Like, you know what I'm saying? I expect them to be like, okay, maybe this is convoluted. We've had Spider-Man 3. We know what a bad movie is. We know what too much is at this point. So I'm not taking that as an excuse. Like, you guys can blame it on Gal Gadot all you want, but all you motherfuckers wrote this script.
What do we send at, Justin?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah, well, to sum it up, I didn't really like the CGI. The Wish Stone had too many plot holes.
Maxwell Lord was good.
Maxwell,
I think
like,
that's fair.
Yeah, I thought
Second
it was
time
fair.
around.
He
Because I actually just
people complained that they thought Wonder Woman raped the guy because it wasn't technically Steve Trevor's body.
That's, oh my gosh, you guys need to let that. You
And
guys
they were like,
really need to
"Oh,
find something
the
else to argue
The
about.
guy's body that guy's body that was used, he didn't give consent.
Unconscious and
Yeah,
people want to
and
talk
it's
about
like
something.
no, but imagine if you can agree with me on this one sentiment that if it was a guy movie doing that to a girl, they would have freaked out, bro.
That would have had more standings.
They
Yeah.
would have freaked
There
out
would have
if
been
it
more
was like a
people
girl's
defending
body
that.
that didn't give. Yeah, so
But quick thing then, because
Yeah.
we know what you don't like. What did you like from it? Like, if you had to take 3 big takeaways that you would really like to see, or that you liked the second time, or that you would see more.
So the Steve Trevor thing, even though it fell short for me, I liked the notion that you're just gonna outgrow everybody you love.
Yes, I felt that
That sucks.
because he told her to let it go, try something else.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you're just gonna have to realize that no matter who you love and make your family, even though it fell short, I loved that part. I did like the action scenes, like the mall scene, the trucks where she's sliding
Yes,
under them.
that
like,
was one of my favorite.
And
I liked their first fight too. I don't know if you did too. Before she got furry,
at the White House, right?
just showing her running those heels and smashing on the couch.
She was killing it,
Felt,
dude.
yeah, it felt good.
She was fucking killing it. I did. So even though I kind of did, so the movie leading up to the Linda Carter scene, where Linda Carter does the end credit scene. Right?
Yeah,
I was like, fuck, this would have hit harder if the movie was better.
right.
Right. But I like that because it's like, hey, they're paying homage to like the previous Wonder Woman,
Yeah,
the first live action Wonder Woman. And
Yeah.
I always appreciate that stuff.
yeah.
I love it.
I was happy.
So Maxwell Lord, I like how his character wasn't just like I am a villain. And I like how he just wanted to make his son proud, and he did kind of what Jafar did. Remember, Jafar wished to be the genie or wished to be the lamp. I want to be the wishing stone. And I thought that was clever. I was like, okay, you know,
Yeah. It definitely made a new dynamic, and that's what I said. Everything that was going on, it felt original.
Mm-hmm.
You know, though any kind of wishes thing, it could feel sloppy, but at the same time, you can't say there's a lot of movies that done that. You know, they've done the whole wishes to get you in trouble, but not in that way.
How old would Bruce Wayne be in this movie?
It's the 80s, so he's probably, his parents should be dead by now, because we would have to look at the Joker timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what was that, like the 70s, 60s?
I thought the Joker took place in like the late 70s, early 80s.
So he's probably
If
still
we're going off that timeline.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
because that would obviously mimic the main one. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing he's at least probably a teenager, probably about to be a young adult soon. In the 90s, he'll be a young adult.
I can see that.
So, which is weird. Yeah, she's kind of like the old hoe of the Justice League.
There was just a couple parts where like she's floating in the sky before she gets the armor.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, what was that?
she can fly.
No, I know, but it was just like
Yeah,
it felt like
I get what
five.
you mean.
It wasn't 10 minutes, right? But it just felt like 10 minutes of her in like bad CGI sky, just like
I'm not.
you know,
I
she's just in
loved
there like
it.
I mean, I get it, right? But it just felt mad long.
And I actually loved it. I'll
Uh-huh.
take it. I loved it, but that might have been the nostalgia in me. Between that and her actually, I can't believe this girl turned it into, because that was just totally fan service right there for the old people. Like, she turned her ship invisible. Well, I was like, okay, you guys are definitely like bodying it with the cameos. Like, yeah, she could do this. She could do this. Hey, but be real with me. When she was in there yanking when she was basically swinging with the clouds. I'm sorry. That it was wrong.
Okay, do what you gotta do.
It was wrong. It was cool. It was cool.
Overall, I say 7 out of 10, man.
Yes.
I can argue
Solid
8,
7
but
out
I
of
would
10.
say solid 7. It's
Yeah,
not a
solid
6.
7. Solid 7.